Alright, hey guys, remember it's TCG back with new videos. So with this video, I'm going to be talking about the Prank Kids Adventure deck, and this is, this is going to be for Master Duel. Of course, this isn't on Master Duel just because it's going to take a lot of crafting material in order to make it in Master Duel. So I decided to just show you guys how I would make it and how eventually, once I get the crafting material in order to use it, that this is the build that I would initially go with. But of course, I'm still testing it, so you guys can give me suggestions and see how we can change it here and there. But this is kind of the rough idea of what I want it to be like. And yeah, so let's get started here. So I guess I'll just start here with the two Prank Kids. Sorry, with the two copies of Roxy's that I have here. So all the Prank Kids, basically when they're sent to the graveyard as a material for fusion or link summon, they can be banished. They activate an effect, and Roxy's effect is that you can banish one card from your hand, and if you do draw one card, then you can special summon one from your hand, one Prank Kids monster from your hand or deck. So that's typically the second half of the effect is in all the effects of the Prank Kids monsters. So just being able to special summon another Prank Kids monster from the deck. So same thing with Lampsies, but with Lampsies you inflict 500 damage, Dropsies you gain 1000 life points, and Fancies you Foolish Burial. So I just decided to include 2 copies of each one just because that's all you really need, and it's been really efficient. Like just with just 2 copies of each, I've been able to draw into it a lot, especially because of Prank Kids Place. Being able to search it out is pretty easy. And yeah, of course, if you guys want to see test hands for this, let me know. But yeah, and then let me just go into the hand traps before I go into the Brave Engine. So this deck does not really need a lot of cards in order to be super efficient. So you just want to fill in the rest of the cards with hand traps. So 3 in a bureau is perfect for this, just being able to use this. If your opponent's building up a board, just get rid of that board. This is going to be the bane of any like combo deck that you might go against, so it's perfect just to run that. 3 Ash Blossom because it's a generic negate. Of course, you're going to want this. 2 Ghost Ogre because it does let you pop cards, and of course you can change this out for whatever you may need. Maybe you want to run Ghost Bell, but decided Ghost Ogre was better for me here. And then 3 Imperms because it's an Imperm. You can monster negate. But yeah, just seeing a bunch of these hand traps is not really a problem. The great thing about this deck is that if you get one Prank Kids monster, you can get going. And if you get like one Prank Kid monster and then you get access to the Brave Engine, then it's still then it's even better. So yeah, now we can go into the whole Brave Engine and what it's gonna look like here. So as you might have seen, the ban list, they preemptively already hit Brave because this deck is this engine is extremely powerful. So they semi-limited Aquamancer of the Sanctuary, so they decided to only run 2 copies because of that. And then the Rite of Aramesia or Rite of Arameser are already semi-limited too. And basically they both the main thing about Aquamancer of the Sanctuary is that it's a way of getting out your Rite of Aramesia. As you can see, if you control an adventure token, you can push them in this card from your hand, and then you can banish this card. So that's a great way to just get this monster out for free. And then you can banish this card from your hand or grave, add 1 Rite of Arameser from your deck or grave. So again, the main thing about these 2 is just so you can go into Rite of Aramesia because that's your way of going into full combo with it. So it's pretty flexible as long as you get one of these 2. And then your Wandering Griffin Rider is great because he's your Omni Negate as long as you control an adventure token. So that's perfect. And then Fateful Adventure lets you search out a monster that mentions adventure tokens. That's usually your way of searching out Wandering Griffin Rider. Yeah, so that's pretty great. And then Draco Back the Dragon Steed is a great way to just be able to bounce one of your opponent's cards. And yeah, it's a really powerful card to have here, and it's one of the weaker ones, part of the Brave Engine, but it's one that you have to include in order to really get it going here. And then yeah, I guess we could go the Destiny Hero because you're going to be running the Verde and the 2 Fusion Destiny, of course, for their Destiny Hero, Phoenix Enforcer, and then the Instant Fusion. So Instant Fusion is your way of searching out, or not searching out, is to get your Rocket Ride in order to tribute it and target 2 Prank Kid non-fusion monsters and special summon them. So it's just so much advantage that you can just get using Instant Fusion. Foolish Burial, you're going to usually use this to just drop the Aquamancer of the Sanctuary, because as I said previously, when she's in the grave, you can banish it. And then you can add 1 Rite of Arameser. So it's just a way of getting into your engine pretty quickly just through a Foolish. Called by the Grave, you don't really need it too much. This deck isn't super affected by by hand traps, but Called by the Grave decided to run it here. If you have any suggestions of other things to run here, then that's great too. The three droplets, because you want to have ways to break boards in case you're going second, and the droplet is a great way of doing so, just being able to negate effect monsters, and you can get rid of a lot of cards in your hand if you choose to do so. And it won't really affect this deck too much, just because this deck can create so much advantage out of nothing. And then Pandemonium, this is going to be your way of fusion. It's going to be your fusion card. Usually you're going to want to use it during your opponent's turn in order to get out the Battle Butler. And so here we have Prank It Pranks. So there's a whole combo that goes into this, but basically this is a way to get a Prank It's token out. And yeah, the great thing about having the Prank It's token is that it does work with the Dracoback, the Dragon Steed, just because this does equip to a non-effect monster. So that is a great way of going about that. Prank It's Place is great because this is your way of searching Prank It's monster. So another way to just make sure you get at least one Prank It's monster, which is extremely likely to just draw at least one. And then here are the 3 imperms that I discussed previously. Alright guys, so before I go to the extra deck, if you guys are enjoying the video and want to support the channel, make sure to use the link in the description down below. It'll take you to TCG Player where you can purchase cards, and it helps us support the channel out quite a bit. But yeah, let's go here to the extra deck. So here we have Prank It's Battle Butler. So Battle Butler is great just because he is your Raigeki. And then the second effect, if this card is in your possession, is sent to the grave by your opponent, you can target one non-fusion monster in your grave, special summon it. So that effect is the only part that is once per turn. So the great thing about this is that means that you're able to Raigeki your opponent multiple times. And doing so, it says that it requires a tribute. But in Master Duel, you have access to 3 Meow Meow Mews. So having access to 3 of these that can act as a monster to tribute is really great. DPE, because it's DPE, just being able to get it out is pretty easy, and being able to pop a card continuously just gives you so much value. Rocket Ride, being able to bring back 2 Prank It's monster is significant, and this card can attack directly too for 1000 in case you need to. And then Weather Washer here. Basically, during your opponent's turn, you contribute, then target 2 Prank It non-fusion monsters and special summon them. So again, similar to Rocket Ride, but you're gonna have to use this during your opponent's turn. And the nice thing about this is that he also makes all of your Prank It monsters into Armades, so that might be relevant if you need to attack and you can't afford your opponent to activate effects, or maybe you're playing against like a flip deck or something like Shadows and you just don't want to trigger that. So Weather Washer can be relevant for those reasons. Access Code Talker is just a great link for being able to pop finish your opponent. Nightmare Unicorn, of course, you're just going to want to shuffle a card, and usually these are going to be, if you're like link climbing, you want to go into the Unicorn. Access Code Talker. Prank It's Dodo Doodle Doo. So Dodo Doodle Doo is great because when it's link summon, and it lets you add a Prank It spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So you're going to want to have 2 copies of this, and then being able to tribute this to target 2 Prank It cards with different names in your grave and add them back to your hand means that you can get so much value back, since you're able to just since like Rocket Ride can bring back Dodo Doodle Doo, and then you can use Dodo Doodle Doo in order to add those 2 Prank It cards back to your hand. So again, so much value that these cards give you. And yeah, and then Prank It's Bow Wow Bark. I only run 1 copy of this. There's a whole combo that if you guys want to see test runs for this, just let me know. But there's a whole combo where you usually like end off with this during your opponent's turn, and then you can tribute this card in order to target 2 Prank It cards with different names in your grave and add them to your hand, and that's in order to fusion summon them for Pandemonium. So you're usually gonna have whatever Prank It's you're missing that are in your grave. You can add your Lampsies, your Fancies, and then use the Pandemonium in order to fusion summon and get a Battle Butler during your opponent's turn. So it's perfect for that. And then here we have Verdant Anaconda, because that's going to be your way of going into DPE. Just great generic way to do so. And kind of just so I can just go off with that. 2 Link Spiders here because you're running tokens, and just being able to, this is an effect monster, so the main reason we're running 2 here. I decided I just had like an extra slot for the other Link Spider. There's some other cards that I was testing, but I decided that I like having 2 Link Spiders more. And yeah, just if you have tokens, if you want to get rid of those in order to get your Link Spider out, that's perfect. And since you need 2 effect monsters for the Verdant Anaconda, then that's a great way to give you access to Verde if you have a token and you don't really need it. And then 3 Meow Meow Mew, because this card is really great just because you're going to be able to use Battle Butler repeatedly, and it's going to be your link 1 that kind of gets everything going, since that's going to be 1 Prank It you're gonna link it away in order to get its effect going and start link climbing. So it's perfect that in Master Duel you can currently run 3 copies of it. So now let's go to the side deck here. So as usual, the side deck is just cards that I was testing out and seeing if I like them. So here I had the whole like a thunder engine that you can have here. Since Thunder Dragon Fusion, you know, is a card that has been used with Prank Kids just because Prank Kids Battle Butler is the thunder monster, and being able to use cards from your you know, that are banished or that are in your grave in order to fusion summon it is really cool and an interesting concept. And you know, having Nemesis Corridor here, since you have a few banished cards, and just being able to get a 1-card Colossus is interesting, and maybe you guys want to run that. It depends on you. You know, maybe you just want to be able to do that. Yeah, if you like that, then you know, make sure to include that in. And yeah, Thunder Dragon Fusion is pretty cool for that reason. Since you could also during your main phase, you can banish this card and add 1 thunder monster, so you can use this to search out the Nemesis Corridor if you need to. And then the third, Ghost Ogre, I tested it out, decided I only wanted 2 copies, and then multiple copies of the other Prank Kids. Decided I didn't really need the other ones, and that 2 copies of each one was perfect. The second Battle Butler, I didn't really go into the second Battle Butler, and so just decided having 1 was fine. Of course, if you want to drop like maybe like a Link Spider in order to add another Battle Butler, depending if you see that you really need it, you can add that. It's totally up to you. And Starving Venom, this is for the whole Super Poly. Like if you want to have Super Poly into the stack, of course you would have to add the Mud Swamp Dragon. Just because you do have access to a bunch of different attributes, so being able to do that is pretty great. Totally awesome because you do have level 2 Aqua monsters and you are able to get Totally Awesome out the right way. The only thing is I decided that, you know, the whole adventure engine was just a more efficient way of getting out Griffin, and you know, getting Totally Awesome out through the dropsies is a little bit, you have to go out of your way a bit more. And Griffin is pretty easy to get out, so decided not to run it here. In the second Pandemonium, didn't really think I needed it just because you have a great way of like recycling cards, usually through Prank Kid Pranks here. So yeah, you just have a great way to cycle into cards, or recycle your cards. So yeah, decided I only really need 1 copy here. But yeah, this is my Prank Kids adventure for like Master Duel. This is the deck profile for it. If you guys want to see test hands, or if you have like suggestions for ways to improve the deck, let me know. I'm open to hearing them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.